introduction for this. This is a regular report that we get through the autumn into the winter, leading up to setting the council tax and agreeing our capital programme and our revenue budget for 2018-2019. There are a series of fees. The next item is the policy and resources item, and this is the finance strategy, capital programme, revenue budget and council tax. Councillor Price has asked if we can comment on this one. I'm not going to give any long-winded introduction for this. This is a regular report that we get through the autumn into the winter, leading up to setting the council tax and agreeing our capital programme and our revenue budget for 2018-2019. There are a series of fees and charges in there which form, as they always do, part of this report. But the important thing, I think, to focus upon for many of our residents is, or what's going to happen to the council tax. The average property in Fareham will see, if these proposals go through the special council meeting, an increase of £0.01 per day for Fareham Borough Council services. So that would be what the effect would be, because the average property in Fareham is bound to see the council tax. So £0.01 a day increase in the district level of council tax, which will still leave us at almost the lowest council tax in the country. There's an ambitious capital programme in there as well, a great proportion of it being spent on the Daedalus site at the Solent Enterprise Zone and at the airport, where of course we're really seeing our investment there paying dividends in terms of job creation at the site, the new innovation centre which is likely to be completed in March, new hangars which are now available for rent at the site, improvements to the control tower, of course the new runway and all of the other work which is going on there. That is the vast majority of our capital programme being utilised at Daedalus. And so I've mentioned the fees and charges report which is there as well. So there'll be another report, not so dissimilar to this, which will come before us in February, and then of course we'll have the council meeting which will set the council tax. So what we're actually looking to do today is to agree the medium-term finance strategy through to 2022, to submit the pay policy to full council for approval, to approve the capital programme of some £52 million, and also the fees and charges report, the general fund budget for this year and for the 2018-19 general fund budget, which you see drops steadily each year. So, Councillor Price.
Thank you.
Just before you speak to us, I should have mentioned as well, there is a sheet of paper where there was an omission of what the charges were for one particular area, and that was tabled as well this evening.
Thank you.
Just before you speak to us, I should have mentioned as well, there is a sheet of paper where there was an omission of what the charges were for one particular area, and that was tabled as well this evening.
Thank you. Can I just ask you, on page 80, as your Vice Chairman will know, is that under partnership working, the third bullet point, Fareham Community Safety Partnership, the fire service is also involved. So I think the fire service ought to be added to that list, certainly with the police, the probation service, etc., etc. So if I can ask that you can add that to that. That's the first point. Having read the report, what I did find is that the same message seemed to be repeated on numerous occasions through it, rather than just coming out as a report of what was being suggested. I found that unusual. The other part of the report, it talks about the expenditure, and we have all of the expenditures from each of the relevant committees. But what we don't have is the balances that we have within the council on the numbers of different accounts. I mean, for instance, SIL, what balance do we have within the SIL account? There are appears to be, say, nothing listed here about what we're actually holding. I mean, we have a property portfolio. It doesn't tell us what the value of that portfolio is within this. And I would have thought, having put in here all of the expenditure, one needs to have actually had the income side of it in more detail than what is here, so that one could actually sort of understand the whole ramification. You're probably going to say to me, that's going to come in the next report next month. But it is, I think, important to have a report which actually sets it all out. To say, to me, is that it's only half of a report in that sense. We haven't got what the balances are, we don't know what the SIL balance is, we don't know what our portfolio property value is, and I accept that in a public document you wouldn't want to put that the income that you get from that, because that is obviously a confidential issue, but I think we need to have some idea what our investments are and what money we actually have in the bank and where it's earmarked for as such. So I feel the report isn't totally complete.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Price. Well, I have to disappoint you, there isn't going to be another report which is going to cover that. If you want to see that information, the last executive, we looked at our investments, so it was made very clear what was where, and if you refer to the council's accounts, you'll see all of the information that you want to see. Is that not right, Mr. Miller?
That's absolutely correct, Peter. The balances on all of the accounts are shown in the statement of accounts, which is reported through the Governance Committee and is published on the council's website. And you're correct, so that the report on the council's investments show the property portfolio and show the return on that investment.
So it is all there, and you've made a point about repeating stuff. We're not going to keep putting everything into different reports. This is how what we're looking at, the finance strategy and our revenue budget, is how are we going to raise the money to pay for £46 million of services next year. And council tax will raise 12% of that, £6 million out of 46 million. But that's how these reports have always been presented. If you want to refer to the detail, have a look in the council's accounts.
I think that where I come from, Mr. Chairman, is the point that a member of the public reading this report would only see the one side of the story, as I would see it, unless they trawl through everything that you're saying. And surely it is better that people, being open, can see all of the facts and figures and what have you, and they can make their own judgments and decisions and views and what have you. That to me would have been the better and the right way. Yes, I accept that any of us can go and ask the Treasurer for any of the facts, the information that we want. I accept that totally. But I do think that sometimes these reports should, because these are what the public will read and look at, and therefore the whole story should be there.
I think rather than the thing the public will look at is their council tax bill, and they'll want to know, is it shooting up? Well, the answer is probably yes, but not due to fair accounts. Councillor Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think, Mr. Chairman, the little subtle hint here is actually we're talking about finance strategy. We're not talking about the statement of accounts. This is telling us what we're going to do with our money, where it's going to be invested, and how it can be spent. And the executive and the portfolio manager will be measured against operating to those strategies and the impact in which they have within the statement of accounts. So this, to my mind, is totally and utterly the normal way that any organisation of any size represents how it's going to manage itself. It's what the county does, it's what the fire authority does, they all do it. They say this is their strategies, how we're going to deal with it, the members agree the strategy. We then get down to the detailed statements of the council show how the money is being spent, and that's been raised on an individual line-by-line basis. So this is totally reasonable.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions or comments? Those recommendations agreed? Thank you very much. Thank you, Councillor Price. Next is